Hey, howdy, hey folks, it is Mrs. Johnson with the Agri Wisdom Channel. We are taking a little bit more of a serious tone today, a little bit more of a personal tone today, because we are talking about the things that I've learned since losing a parent a couple months ago. And it's my first time losing a parent, via death. And let's see. Why did I want to talk about this with my little FFA babies? Regardless of how old you are. Because agricultural education is founded on community. Agriculture itself is very community-based because we feed lots of people through agriculture. And lots of small-town communities are agriculture-based. And then education itself is also very heavily community-based. And so agricultural education lends itself to kind of both of those realms of mentorship and community and guidance and helping hands and things of that nature. So if I can share something maybe a little more personal with you, a little more serious with you folks on the internet and in my classes, that might help you going through the loss of someone really important to you. I would love to do so. And my advice by no means is an end-all be-all or a solution to anything. But as community member to community member, I would like to help if I can. And giving you some tidbits that I've learned along my journey might be helpful to you. So, without further ado, I will introduce you to my dad. This is my dad. Hello, Dad. Let's see. This photo was taken in 2023 when I graduated community college, and he was like, that was a weird time a little bit for me and my dad, because 2 years prior I had ran away essentially during my senior year. I was 18 at the time, and I had essentially been working with my dad at the family business, pooling a 4.0 GPA on top of taking care of like a bunch of livestock and 40 acres. And anyway, I had a lot on my plate on top of the chaos that was my family. And it was not a super great environment. It was actually there's some abuse involved, and lots of weird, gross family dynamics. Hence the reason why I became a homeless youth, and for some crazy alignment of the stars, a first-generation college student, a successful one. And so, 2 years later, we got this photo. So how I got from there, or got from not speaking to my dad at all and being homeless and couch surfing with friends to this photo, to 2 years later, moving back home in not the same house as my dad. Again, whole 40 acres thing. So I was actually living across the street when he happened to die from some very serious turn of events with some of his pre-existing health conditions in the span of a week. So I got a week's notice, and it sucked for me and my family. And I had moved home in the summertime, and I looked at my dad and was like, oh, it's just for the summer. I'm gonna go stay in your little in the house, little trailer house, on the property for a couple months while I wait to go to Oregon State, and then bought a car, because my old car died, deferred, and was like, oh, hey, Dad, I guess I'm here for the year. And then 3 months later, he died. That sucked. That sucked a lot. But you know what? Stars aligned. And I was home for that. Because Oregon is a long, long drive from home, and it would have really sucked to be in graduate school and lose my dad in an entirely different state altogether. So, the stars aligned, and now I'm here. And I really miss my dad. So, and I've learned a lot in the last 23 and a half years of having a dad and then losing him. So let's talk about some of the things. I have 3 major things that I've learned. So let's talk about those things. 1, let relationships change over time. Now, I gave you some backstory on all the crazy stuff that happened in the last 4 or 5 years of my experience with my dad. If I hadn't have let my relationship with my dad change over time, I wouldn't have spoken to my dad in over, this says over 2 years, but it would have been closer over 4 years, closer to 5, because I stopped talking to him for a while in high school, which will get me to my next point. And even this goes for any relationship. It's really hard to maintain relationships, or even it's really hard to maintain relationships without letting them change over time. And it's really hard not to have regrets about things that you've done or the relationships that you've had if you don't let them change over time. We are meant to adapt and evolve and change and learn as people. And so please give people the grace of learning. My dad, when I was really, really little, is definitely not the person he was 4 or 5 years ago when I moved out. And he definitely wasn't the same person that I knew just before he died. And I have to say thank you to my older brother, which is old enough to be moved out of the house by the time I can remember things, because he had a spat with my dad too, when he was in his 20s, and he got wind of my spat with my dad 4 or 5 years ago and was like, hey dude, you should definitely talk to him no matter how much it sucks. And I said, nuh-uh, I'm not doing that. And he said, please. And so I have to thank my brother for being the catalyst of me learning this lesson. And now, looking back on it, being like, yeah, my brother was definitely right. I should have let things change and evolve and adapt. Because now, I don't really have any regrets. Even though my dad just died. It sucks that my dad died. And I really wish he would be there for the rest of my life. But I don't regret not talking to him. And I don't regret talking to him again. I don't regret the things that I did as an adult with my dad in terms of our relationship. Which brings me to number 2, which is kind of related to the first one, kind of similar, but number 2, don't burn bridges, put them under construction. Put them under construction. I don't care if it's speedy construction, but I also don't care if it's California's tax road repair. I don't know if you've seen those, or if you're from California. Maybe it's a very niche Californian thing, but California will put highways under construction for 8 years, and the sign, they have these big signs that's California tax funded project to be completed in 2024, and it's 2027, and you're like, dude, this project still isn't done. But sometimes they get done super fast. Sometimes they're 8 years behind schedule. And And that's essentially kind of what my brother told me to do. Or my brother said, hey, don't burn this bridge. Please don't burn this bridge. And so I put it under construction 4 or 5 years ago. And I said, you know what? Okay, cool. Here's the rules. This bridge is not structurally sound the way it is. And so I spent a lot of time, like the last, even like up until my dad died, I spent a lot of time like talking with my dad and being like, hey dad, that's not cool. Don't talk to me like that. Hey dad, I want to do this. Hey dad, no. Hey dad, sure. Hey dad, thank you. Right? And we talked about it, and the last, I want to say year and a half, so like Chico State era me and like gap year era me, my dad was probably the proudest person of me ever in my entire life. And he told me that every time he talked to me. And guaranteed there were things that he did that I was like, Jesus Christ, not this again. Right? Because he was an old man. And so, me being young and hip, I was like, Dad, seriously? You know, and there were dorky things that he did that I was still like, oh, that bothers me. Don't do that, Dad. But, again, if I would have burnt that bridge, I wouldn't have known my dad as the person that he died being. Like, without my dad, like, I wouldn't have done, in the last, like, 2 years, like, I had a lot of self-motivation to do things, like go to school, and, you know, do undergraduate research, and go on educational exchanges, and, you know, go to conferences and things of that nature. But in the last couple years of my dad's life, he spent so much time being so proud of me that I couldn't imagine doing those things without calling him and him going, I'm so proud of you. And it took a lot of work to get there, and a lot of construction to get from, no, I never want to talk to you again, you've really messed my relationship with you up, to, Dad, I called you because I did something cool. And I know you're going to be proud of me. So, it takes a lot of work. But, please don't burn bridges. You're allowed to put them under construction, and they can stay under construction forever, for all I care. So, that's lesson number 2. Lesson number 3 is my last lesson. Let's talk about it. Losing someone important to you never stops hurting. Now, I apologize for the sniffles and the tears. As I said, this is a little bit personal. But losing someone important to you is never going to stop hurting. But you don't have to be absorbed by that pain forever. It sometimes feels like you're going to be. But you can always make decisions. You and your community can make decisions in how that pain is absorbed. For example, and me and my coworkers and my family and my friends and my community have talked a lot about this in my life, because I lost someone that, you know, as I mentioned, in the last couple of years has been like my biggest cheerleader, even though he was very much not 5 years ago. And I have one person in my community that was like, oh yeah, I was really mean and really angry with everyone for like 8 years. And I didn't get over it for 8 years. I know someone else in my community that has been, really struggling to get over, to stop absorbing all the pain of losing their mom, that they're having a really hard time keeping housing and keeping jobs, and their mom died 5 years ago, and they haven't been the same since. They haven't held down a steady job, they haven't had steady housing, anything. I know, I've talked quite a bit with a neighbor, actually, and she lost her dad, or she lost her mom, and she couldn't keep any of her mom's stuff. She got to the point to where she had all her mom's knickknacks and stuff, but she had little babies, like 3 and 4 years old, and she was so freaked out over the fact that she had little babies that could break her mom's knickknacks that she eventually got to the point with that pain where she said, hey family, please take these knickknacks. I can't have them. They make me a mean person because I'm so scared they're going to get hurt. And I love my mom so much, and she loved these so much that I just can't bear to have them. And that really sucked. And now, for some personal examples, I went out of town this last couple weeks ago. Went out of town to a big city and was doing some shopping and went to a plant store and some things, and there were quite a few things that we saw when I was out and about shopping for the things that I needed, that I wanted to bring home really badly because it reminded me of my dad. I wanted to bring home a cute little wind chime that sounded really pretty, and it was my dad's favorite color because my family has a thing for wind chimes. And, I wanted to bring home my dad's favorite alcohol, even though I don't drink at all. Why I wanted to bring home his alcohol, I don't know. But we run the alcohol aisle because my husband drinks and I don't. And I was like, oh, if I'm going to drink anything, I want to drink this thing for my dad. Or if I want to bring home any wind chime or anything from the plant store, I want to bring home this wind chime because it reminds me of my dad. And honestly, it wasn't in the budget. And I talked to my husband about it, and it wasn't in the budget. And I was just upsetty spaghetti, and I didn't really need to bring it home, and I could always come back later and get it. If I was in a better mood and still wanted to bring it home to honor my dad, I totally could. And that was the decision that we made, is I don't have to be guided by that pain. I don't have to make honoring my dad my entire life. I can and should make decisions for other things as well. Some of my friends and coworkers have had the opposite experience. Like I told you, they've been really mean and angry, and they just haven't been able to handle it because they avoided talking about their dad or their mom or their wife or their spouse or their friend, and they just really struggled to have any reminder of it because it just made them so angry that they didn't want to be reminded. And so my point to you is it's hard when you first lose somebody, you're gonna feel it all the time. And that is normal. And as time goes on, you get acclimated to it. You adapt to not having their presence around. And you get adapted to getting those gentle reminders that, oh hey, my dad would love this moonshine. Or, oh hey, that's my dad's favorite alcohol. Or, oh hey, that's my wife's favorite color. That's my best friend's favorite color. That's my best friend's favorite drink. That's my best friend's favorite food. And getting those small reminders gets easier. You're always going to have sad little moments and frustrating little moments, and they're like, oh, I wish I could call them right now. I wish I could talk to them right now. I wish I could send them this. I wish, they would, meet my kids or whatever. And those things are going to happen. But please do your best to make decisions to live your life in a way that they would still love you for. They loved you for who you are. They didn't love you because you honored them. They didn't love you because you worshipped them. They didn't love you because you ignored them. They loved you because of who you are. And they knew you for who you are. And please continue to make decisions to be who you are. And not to honor them. Not to ignore them. Be who you are. And you can carry that chip on your shoulder. It's okay to carry it. Because we learn from the experiences that we've had. But you don't have to carry them around on a silver platter for the rest of your life. They would want you to be you. And take care of you. And continue to do you things. So, without further ado, that is my advice from the last 3 months of having lost my dad. And I want to say thank you for chatting. Thank you for listening. You are not alone in anything that you're going through. Good, bad, sad, otherwise. You are loved and cared for in some way, shape, or form, even if it's just because you are one of my little FFA babies now. I don't care how old you are. You were all my little FFA babies, and we're learning things together, and we're an ag ed community, and I love it here. And people care more about you than your mind says they do when you're having sucky mind moments. When your mind just sucks and is sad and upset and angry, I promise you, your friends, your family, your mentors, your community, they care about you. And they care about you more than they say they do. And more than your mind likes to hear it. Last but not least, regardless of whether you're going through something, or a friend is going through something, or family member is going through something, or anyone you know is going through something, reach out to your community. If you know someone that's struggling, reach out. If you're the one struggling, reach out. Your community, our community, is here to be our community. We're here to support each other. So please, 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 if you need help, if you need anything, reach out to each other. Find someone that will listen. And you will find them, I promise. Okay? Nothing lasts forever, and you are cared about, and you are loved. And we can all learn through experiences. Okay. Thank you for listening. Bye. I hope your experiences with loss are better than mine. And I hope this was helpful to at least some of you. Okay, bye.